available for only 3 months a year, with more shell than meat and a picky origin. Why is the hairy crab the top star of autumn so beloved by many? Seedlings released in spring, harvested in late autumn. Raising hairy crabs takes over half a year, yet the peak tasting season lasts less than 3 months. But it's exactly this scarcity that boosts its value and appeal. Even before the crabs are fully grown, crab cards are already selling like wildfire. Some merchants sell over 200 cards in a single morning, raking in over 80 yuan in a single day from crab card sales alone. Take a stroll by Yangcheng Lake, you'll find a live streaming setup every 3 steps, and a shipping station every 5 steps. Business is booming. Even the scalpers who usually sell concert tickets have flocked to sell crab cards this mid-autumn festival. But as crab card sales soar, the complaints are mounting even faster. Looking at the data from the Black Cat consumer complaint platform, not only have crab card complaints exceeded 3-0, but their endless scams have landed them on the trending list for years. You just wanted a fresh taste, so how did it come to the card being worth more than the crab? And the tricks being so deep. Hello everyone, this is Kanchai. Today let's put hairy crabs in the spotlight. It's time for our monthly public execution check. Duyan, picks in the bottom left. And please cast a vote for me, thank you so much. Okay, back to the topic. This is a 200 Yangcheng Lake female crab with some ginger added. Steam it on high heat for 15 minutes, then let it simmer for another 15. Open the shell, and you're rewarded with steaming golden orange crab roe. Try a bite plain first, then dip it in ginger vinegar sauce. One mouthful of roe leaves a lingering fragrance, pure satisfaction. Delicious as hairy crabs are. They must be eaten fresh once they've been dead for over 5 hours. Bacterial growth and histamine decomposition pose a serious poisoning risk. So to keep the crabs fresh and reduce shipping costs, crab cards were born. Recipients can choose when to redeem them online for cold chain home delivery, and any dead arrivals are covered by after-sale service. Most importantly, if the recipient isn't a fan of crabs, card can be regifted as a respectable present. The whole point is to ensure nothing goes to waste. So while crab cards were originally meant for consumer convenience, they now distance consumers from the actual crabs, turning into financial futures. To seize peak season traffic and cash flow, some unscrupulous merchants even use them to gain something for nothing. Now let's break down the capital flow of a crab card. Take a crab card with a face value of 600 RMB. Long before the crabs are mature, merchants sell these cards for 500 RMB to agency agents, consumers or third-party proxies, who then help sell them at a retail price of 580 RMB. As for the consumers who buy them, they either keep them for themselves or give them as gifts. But whether kept or gifted, if there are too many cards on hand, or if the appetite for crab fades, people will resell them on secondary market platforms. Recyclers then drive the prices even lower, sometimes buying them back at a 90% discount. After recycling, they double that price to sell the cards back to those in need, like the original merchants or other consumers. After this full cycle, the crabs are still in the pond, but the seller has pocketed 380 RMB in cash flow out of thin air. Some crab cards even become completely invalid after being sold. The merchants simply vanish, making it impossible to redeem the goods. We consumers end up becoming just another pawn in this crab card game. But that's not all. The real show of fleecing consumers only begins when it's time to redeem those cards, because only then do you realize who has really been played. To protect profit margins, Capital desperately limits redemption volumes, who can redeem which card, and how much can actually be claimed. It's all calculated behind the scenes. Take the 2024 crab farming data in Jiangsu as an example. Last year, due to high temperatures and supply chain issues, the crab yield in Jiangsu decreased, and the crabs' sizes were generally smaller than usual as a result. Many people couldn't redeem their crab cards last year. In other cases, you can redeem them, but you'll get short-weighted. Since crab cards are primarily used as gifts, the buyer and the recipient are different people, which leads to a massive gap in accountability. For instance, if you gift your boss a card for 8 catties of crabs, they likely won't bother to weigh each one after getting home. This allows merchants to exploit the loophole. Giving 6 catties for an 8 catty card is a common trick. Though if you give a gift but your boss starts giving you a hard time, it might be because those crabs left him feeling cheated. But for those who buy crab cards for themselves, it's much easier to notice the short waiting. Many meticulous consumers will weigh the crabs upon delivery, yet there is still a loophole. According to relevant regulations, crabs have a 7 water loss rate, so for any weight discrepancy within this margin, you just have to suck it up and accept your luck. Otherwise, you'll have to go several rounds with customer service just to maybe get a small refund for the difference. As for those ropes that weigh more than the crabs themselves, you're truly truly helpless. But that's not even the biggest trap. What really makes buyers lose it is that the crab cards they buy and the crabs they receive are often a product mismatch. Some merchants print cards with crabs that look just like Yangcheng Lake's finest dive, but the origin is listed as Suzhou Lake District or just near Yangcheng Lake. Then there are those playing word games with titles in live stream rooms. You'll come across a stream titled Yangcheng Lake Hairy Crabs, only to click in and find they're actually selling su crabs. However, authorities are now taking active steps to crack down on this year. This year, the Yangcheng Lake Hairy Crab Industry Association introduced a circuit breaker mechanism for the first time, linking crab tag distribution directly to farming acreage, no more than 600 tags per acre, to control real sales at the source. Once tags run out, products must be delisted immediately. This aims to stop unscrupulous merchants from fishing in troubled waters. However, the effectiveness of these measures remains to be seen. Yet despite all this, topics like crab cart scams still trend on social media every year. Given how often these warnings and exposés are issued, shouldn't the crab cart business have gone bust long ago? Why do so many people still rush to buy them? The reason is as absurd as it is simple. Chinese people just love hairy crabs too much. They'd rather gamble a little money in hopes of finding an honest merchant than miss out on this seasonal ritual. In fact, the Chinese tradition of eating crabs dates back centuries. People have shown immense enthusiasm for this as early as the Majiabang site, dating back over 70 years. Archaeologists discovered crab bones and shells inside pottery cauldrons. They were picked incredibly clean. By a Song dynasty, eating crabs became a refined pursuit of the literati. Zhu Dongpo left behind many poems about eating crabs, even calling himself the gluttonous prefect. Back then, crabs were not something commoners could afford. Consuming them became a symbol of status, and so their popularity continued to grow. According to data from the Fisheries Expo, China's crab consumption in 24 is approximately 2 million tons, with a market value reaching 17.4 billion USD, which translates to 123.94 billion RMB. It's said that in a single quarter the nation eats an entire city's annual GDP, and that is no exaggeration. If we calculate based on the national population, over 7 billion hairy crabs are consumed annually in China. That is equivalent to 5 crabs per person per year. However, even though crab cards are still all the rage, the price of hairy crabs has plummeted this year. In some areas, prices have dropped to just 10 or 20 yuan a piece. So why has the price dropped so much? Simply put, it's due to the abundance of supply. For instance, Jiangsu's farming area has surged to 630 mu, with production soaring by over 10. China's immense aquaculture capabilities have caused many elite delicacies to be knocked off their pedestal. Like the abalone once hyped up in Hong Kong dramas, it's now common, and it doesn't even taste that special anymore. Shark fin soup isn't as good as a mix you drink, and bird's nest porridge isn't as satisfying as the 8 treasure porridge from my relatives. After all is said and done, the core point comes down to this. If you're still determined to buy crab cards, it remains a high-stakes gamble. Merchants are betting on leverage using pre-sales to unlock massive cash flow. Even if there's a product mismatch later, they can secure a win through leverage rules. Consumers, meanwhile, are betting on decency gambling, that the crabs they receive meet the standards, and that if issues arise, merchants will be willing to negotiate, and that seeking redress won't leave them utterly exhausted. But in this gamble, the side that holds the initiative over the rules is the real winner. For us small retail investors, the game was already lost before we even sat at the table.